It's hotter than nobody's business here. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it when weather's like this. I seriously enjoy the heat. We need more of it in the UK. It's such a miserable winter and such a miserable spring actually. It makes a difference to have this bit of sunlight come to the workshop for once. Today, yeah, it's been 4 months. Yeah, kind of embarrassed about that. 4 months. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? So 4 months since the GS has been on your screen, and I'm trying to remember where we left it off. Was it the cowl? Did we respray the cowl? I think we did. Obviously a lot of things has happened since then to all these bikes. The GS has kind of been, someone's exhaust struggling there. The GS has kind of been put on hold whilst I was getting the CX ready for the bike shed. That took a good 6 weeks to get the CX ready, so it's quite understandable how easy you can let one project slip, and especially seeing as the CX is pretty much roadworthy now. Of course my concentration is going to be getting that on the road so I can start off with these motor vlogs, but a recap on where we are with the GS. Since that GS video of respraying the cowl, we have gloss coated the front fender and the rear cowl. The tank I'm not done yet, only because I wasn't brave enough to clear coat the tank as of yet, but I will do. It is now running Canon pod. To be honest, I've not heard this bike run with the Canons on the back. Be interesting to see how that works, and obviously I have a few new bits to put on, so I'm changing the colour of the engine covers on the side. They're now going to a satin black. One engine casing as well was leaking, and obviously if that's not going to pass the UK MOT standards, if you've got an oil leak, it won't pass. So I had to change that as well. That was pretty much, I was better off buying a new one than I was trying to repair the old one. It would have cost me a lot more for that. So today I've got to swap that, paint it, put it back on, tidy up the bike, put the front mudguard on, position the rear cowl, and the silencers as well. So we've had the silencers or the mufflers on the back reshaped. Now they kick up, whereas before they were a straight line. I wasn't really pleased with that. It was never my intention to have it running as a straight line. They now kick up, and I think it looks a bit meaner, so I've got those to put on as well. Not much, but obviously progress to get this bike on the road. Oh, and we've got new nuts and bolts as well, put the odd bolts here and there. So my aim now is to get the CX and the GS on the road, so let's do a little bit on the GS. Let's get it back on your screens, let's welcome it back. So first job on the GS is to replace this. So I've taken it off, it was leaking, and you can see there, obviously that is broken. There wasn't a direct crack in the case, but because that is like it was, I couldn't get the bottom screw to clamp on tight enough, and it was leaking out of there, so I do need to replace that. I have got a new one that needs stripping down, repainting, but for the time being, let's get this out of it. Hey, and that's what happens after a few minutes. Oh, look at that. It's lovely and polished actually. Kind of would be a shame to paint it back up, wouldn't it? And after a lot of scrubbing, actually, do you know what? Not that much, to be honest. It has come out pretty clean. I'm happy with that. These little bits need shaving down and all sorts, just a little bit of sanding I've started there, just to get all the imperfections off, and that's it. We can prime that now and spray it. Right, so let me take you around the GS just to recap where we are at, and you can see how it is now. So it's so dirty. I mean, look at this. It just needs a proper clean. Everything is just covered in dust. So that's the first thing I really need to do. I mean, look at that. Yeah, that needs a proper clean. I need new tyres. That's for a fact. The tyres have been changed, some nicer tyres, probably a bit thicker than that. Can I fit thicker tyres? We have obviously the covers and everything off. We've got the wiring at the front that needs to be finished off. That's not going anywhere. That's for the starter, which we're not using on this bike. The engine covers are off there, only because they're being resprayed at the moment. And moving to the back, we have these lovely Canons here. Again, a bit dirty, but there they are. This bike is now running 4 Canon pods, and they're sitting a little bit neat there. A little tiny bit squashed at the top, but that's only because of the frame. The exhaust is off here. We've got new exhausts made for that, so I'm going to put those back on today. And obviously, this back bit that's been lacquered as well, that just needs polishing up. And that's pretty much where we are at with the bike at the moment. Now the one thing I'm going to add on to this now is this here. It's the new sprayed front mudguard fender, and we've got little studs just to sort of finish it off where the holes are. And the next thing we've got to put on are these new exhausts. So you can see here, we've got a little kink in this now. It was going straight and I really didn't like that. So there's a little kink in it now. I think that obviously needs some clamps, but that might work. And that is it. The GS is in a nicer place than it has been for the last probably 4 months, in fact. Exhausts, they will be going on next week. Next week we'll be putting the clamps on, and we'll also be exhaust strapping those as well. only because the pipes are pretty ugly. That's the only reason I'm really exhaust strapping this. On the CB750 we've got brand new pipes, so there's no need for any exhaust strap in that. The bike should be technically running. The last two things I want to do is, well, the last thing I want to do is fit in rear lights and a number plate holder, which I have already. I just need to pretty much pop it on the back there, see how it sits with that rear cowl as well. And we're also changing the regulator rectifier in this. So as I said, with the CX and the CB750, CX550 and CB750, we're changing the regulator rectifiers on both those as well, just so they can be compatible with the lithium-ion batteries that we're putting in all three of these bikes. Rick's Motors Electrics are sending us 3 regulators for all 3 of these bikes, so I definitely want to change that on a GS whilst we're getting them in. Might as well change it on the GS as well. And that'll be the wiring complete, and then that should be it. That should be it for the GS. I can start it up. It'll probably need tuning again, seeing as we put the Canons on there. I've not started it yet with the Canons, but my guess is that it's going to change the airflow again, so that'll need tuning. This Friday we'll be coming back at you with the CX500 video, putting neat little indicators and mirrors and all sorts on the CX. That'll be done. Oh, and the rear number plate as well. The rear number plate holder and new number plate as well. Making it road legal. That'll be coming out your screens this Friday. If you like what you see, stay up to date, subscribe to this channel, subscribe there and hit the bell icon as well so you can get notifications when these videos come out. Follow me on Instagram, daily stories on there, and I will see you on Friday. Ride safe. See you then.